Ladies and gentlemen, there's a misconception in our world, a belief that being alone is a sign of weakness. But let me tell you, a woman who spends time alone is the furthest thing from weak. She's a force to be reckoned with. A woman who spends time alone learns to harness the strength of solitude in a way that many people never do. In solitude, she discovers a profound sense of peace that cannot be replicated in the company of others. This peace doesn't mean she is isolating herself or running away from the world. It means she has chosen to sit with her thoughts, her emotions, and her experiences without distraction. In doing so, she cultivates a deep understanding of who she is, what she stands for, and where she wants to go. Spending time alone allows her to strip away the noise of external opinions and societal pressures. She doesn't rely on others to tell her what she should think or feel. Instead, she listens to her own inner voice and trusts it. This builds a foundation of self-awareness that makes her unshakable. She becomes someone who isn't easily influenced because she knows her own mind. In solitude, she finds clarity. She begins to see things as they truly are, her strengths, her weaknesses, her desires, and her dreams. It is in these moments of quiet reflection that she finds answers to questions she didn't even know she had. She gains a unique perspective on life because she has taken the time to slow down and truly understand it. Through solitude, she also learns to find fulfillment within herself. She doesn't need the constant presence of others to feel valued or loved. She discovers that the most meaningful relationship she can have is the one she has with herself. And this is what makes her truly powerful. Her ability to thrive in her own company, to build her life on her own terms, and to be entirely at peace with herself. When a woman spends time alone, she builds emotional resilience in ways that few others can. Being alone means she faces her emotions head-on, without distractions or crutches to numb or deflect the discomfort. She learns to sit with her fears, process her sadness, and confront her insecurities. Through this process, she develops a strength that comes from understanding her emotions rather than avoiding them. This kind of resilience cannot be given to her by anyone else. It is earned through self-awareness and growth. Spending time alone teaches her how to weather life's challenges without relying on external validation or constant reassurance. She doesn't crumble under pressure because she's familiar with the inner resources she can draw upon. Instead of seeking someone to lean on during hard times, she becomes her own anchor. This doesn't mean she never seeks support from others, but it means she's not dependent on it to stay grounded. This resilience also allows her to bounce back more quickly from setbacks. She doesn't view failure or adversity as a reflection of her worth, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. She's developed the mental and emotional tools to process difficult experiences, extract lessons from them, and move forward stronger than before. Her ability to navigate her emotions with strength and grace makes her unshakable. Life's ups and downs don't rattle her easily because she's built a solid foundation within herself. She understands that emotions, like waves, come and go, and she trusts herself to handle them all. This resilience becomes her superpower, allowing her to thrive in situations where others might falter. When a woman spends time alone, she develops a profound and unshakable confidence that radiates from within. This confidence isn't the loud, boastful kind often mistaken for self-assurance. It's a quiet, deeply rooted belief in her own worth that doesn't waver in the face of external opinions or criticism. She knows who she is, not because someone told her, but because she spent the time discovering it for herself. In solitude, she learns to appreciate her unique qualities, skills, and experiences. She isn't comparing herself to others or measuring her value against society's ever-changing standards. Instead, she recognizes that her worth isn't conditional. It isn't tied to her appearance, achievements, or relationships. It simply exists, and she owns it without apology. This confidence allows her to move through life with purpose and conviction. She doesn't second-guess her decisions or feel the need to seek constant validation from others. She trusts her instincts and stands firm in her choices, even when they go against the grain. Because she's spent time alone, she's had the space to evaluate what truly matters to her, and this clarity strengthens her resolve. Her confidence also makes her impervious to superficial judgments. She doesn't crumble under criticism or feel the need to change herself to fit someone else's expectations. She understands that not everyone will see her value, and that's okay, because she sees it clearly. This self-assurance creates an aura of authenticity that draws others in, not because she demands attention, but because she commands respect. In a world that often tries to define women by external factors, a woman who spends time alone reclaims that narrative. Her confidence isn't just a personal triumph, it's a quiet act of rebellion, a statement that she determines her own worth and no one else. This kind of confidence isn't easily shaken, and it's what makes her truly powerful. When a woman spends time alone, she develops an extraordinary sense of clarity about her life, her purpose, and her priorities. Free from the noise and distractions of the outside world, she creates space to think deeply and critically about what truly matters to her. In solitude, she isn't pulled in 100 different directions by others' expectations, demands, or opinions. Instead, she focuses inward, examining her values, goals, and the vision she has for her future. This clarity comes from a process of stripping away the unnecessary. She learns to distinguish between what she truly wants and what she has been conditioned to believe she should want. Without external pressures clouding her judgment, she gains a sharp understanding of her desires, her strengths, and her boundaries. She starts to see life with a level of precision and purpose that can only be achieved through intentional introspection. With this clarity, she is better equipped to make decisions that align with her authentic self. She doesn't make choices out of fear, obligation, or a desire to please others. Instead, every decision she makes is deliberate, rooted in what she knows to be right for her. Whether it's pursuing a career, ending a toxic relationship, or taking a leap of faith, she acts with conviction because she trusts the vision she has cultivated in her moments of solitude. This sense of purpose becomes her guiding light. It helps her navigate challenges, distractions, and uncertainties with focus and determination. Even when the path ahead isn't easy, she stays the course because she's confident in her direction. She knows what she's working toward, and she refuses to be derailed by temporary setbacks or the opinions of others. Her clarity also gives her the ability to set priorities and allocate her energy wisely. She doesn't waste time on things or people that don't contribute to her growth or happiness. She understands that her time and energy are precious, and she guards them fiercely, ensuring that everything she invests in aligns with her long-term goals. This ability to focus on what truly matters allows her to live with intention and purpose, making her life a reflection of her deepest values. When a woman spends time alone, she develops an extraordinary capacity for self-reflection. In solitude, she takes a step back from the fast-paced demands of life and allows herself the opportunity to truly understand her thoughts, emotions, and experiences. She doesn't shy away from asking herself the difficult questions. What do I want? What am I afraid of? What am I learning from this situation? And in doing so, she becomes more self-awareness and emotionally intelligent. Through this process, she learns to connect with herself on a deeper level. She recognizes the patterns in her behavior, both positive and negative, and identifies the forces that drive her decisions. She becomes aware of her triggers, her strengths, and the areas she wants to improve. This kind of insight isn't easily attained in the chaos of constant interaction. It is born out of it. Self-reflection also allows her to process her emotions in a healthy way. Instead of suppressing or ignoring how she feels, she takes the time to sit with those emotions and understand them. This prevents her from being controlled by fleeting feelings or reacting impulsively. She becomes someone who responds to life thoughtfully and intentionally, rather than being swept away by momentary highs and lows. In these moments of reflection, she also gains perspective. She steps outside of her immediate circumstances and sees the bigger picture. She considers not just what is happening, but why it is happening and what she can learn from it. This perspective helps her navigate challenges with grace and resilience because she understands that every experience, good or bad, has something to teach her. By mastering the art of self-reflection, she becomes a woman who is deeply in tune with herself. She knows her worth, her values, and her boundaries because she has taken the time to explore them. This level of self-awareness empowers her to live authentically and to grow continuously. She evolves into someone who is not only strong and independent, but also, when a woman spends time alone, she frees herself from the need for external validation. In solitude, she realizes that her worth is not determined by how others perceive her or by the opinions of society. She begins to understand that seeking constant approval is a losing game, one that leaves people feeling empty and dependent on others to define their value. Instead, she shifts her focus inward, finding fulfillment and contentment from within herself. Spending time alone gives her the opportunity to evaluate what truly matters to her. She isn't swayed by trends, social expectations, or the pressures to conform. She discovers her own likes, dislikes, passions, and beliefs. Not because someone told her what they should be, but because she took the time to uncover them for herself. This process allows her to develop a strong sense of self, one that isn't easily shaken by the judgments or opinions of others. As she grows more comfortable in her own company, she stops looking for outside validation to feel complete. She doesn't need the applause of a crowd or the approval of friends, family, or colleagues to feel confident in her choices. Her sense of self-worth comes from knowing who she is and embracing it fully. This independence from validation makes her powerful, as it allows her to live authentically and unapologetically, without fear of criticism or rejection. She also becomes highly discerning in how she engages with others. Because she doesn't rely on others for validation, she doesn't feel the need to please everyone or maintain relationships that drain her energy. Instead, she focuses on building connections that are meaningful and mutually supportive. She values quality over quantity, surrounding herself only with people who respect and uplift her. Her ability to live without seeking constant approval is liberating. It frees her from the exhausting cycle of trying to meet others' expectations and allows her to focus on what genuinely brings her joy and fulfillment. This independence is a testament to her inner strength and self-assuredness, making her someone who is not easily influenced or controlled. She becomes a woman who walks her own path with confidence, knowing that she doesn't need permission from anyone to be exactly who she is. When a woman spends time alone, she develops a fearless approach to decision-making. In solitude, she learns to trust herself fully, free from the noise and influence of others. This trust stems from the deep self-awareness she gains through reflection and introspection. She knows her values, her priorities, and the vision she has for her life. With this clarity, she makes decisions with conviction, unafraid of the unknown or the opinions that may follow. Time alone teaches her that hesitation often stems from fear of failure, rejection, or making the wrong choice. But through solitude, she confronts these fears and dismantles them piece by piece. She realizes that mistakes are not the end of the world. They are opportunities to learn and grow. This perspective empowers her to take risks and step into the uncertain with confidence, knowing that even if she stumbles, she will find her footing again. Because she doesn't depend on others to validate her choices, her decisions are grounded in authenticity. She doesn't make choices to please people, fit in, or gain approval. Instead, her decisions reflect her true self, her goals, and her inner compass. This kind of integrity makes her unstoppable, as she is not swayed by criticism or external pressures. She also learns to listen to her intuition, an ability that is often overlooked in a world focused on logic and external advice. Solitude sharpens her connection to this inner voice, and she grows to trust it more deeply. Whether it's choosing a career path, ending a relationship, or pursuing a dream, her intuition becomes a guiding force that she knows she can rely on. Her fearlessness in decision-making doesn't mean she acts impulsively or recklessly. Instead, it means she takes thoughtful, calculated risks, understanding that no great achievement comes without a leap of faith. She is unafraid to forge her own path, even when it means going against the grain or stepping into uncharted territory. Through this courage, she sets herself apart. She becomes a leader in her own right, someone who takes charge of her life and inspires others to do the same. Her ability to make bold, confident decisions without relying on the approval or input of others makes her a powerful force, someone who creates her own destiny and is unafraid to embrace the journey. When a woman spends time alone, she becomes an expert in setting and maintaining boundaries, a skill that is often overlooked but is vital for self-respect and personal growth. In solitude, she gains clarity about her needs, values, and limits. She understands what she is willing to accept and what she isn't, and this awareness empowers her to protect her energy, time, and emotional well-being. She learns that boundaries are not about pushing people away, but about defining how she wants to be treated and ensuring that her relationships are built on mutual respect. Time alone gives her the space to evaluate her interactions and identify what is healthy and what isn't. She becomes acutely aware of when she's giving too much or when someone is taking advantage of her kindness. This awareness allows her to act decisively, saying no when necessary and stepping away from toxic dynamics without guilt. In solitude, she also learns to prioritize herself. She understands that taking care of her own needs is not selfish, but essential. She begins to recognize that she cannot pour from an empty cup, and that preserving her peace is a form of self-love. By valuing her own well-being, she sets a standard for how others should treat her. Her boundaries become a reflection of her self-worth, and she refuses to compromise on them. This ability to enforce boundaries also gives her a profound sense of control over her life. She is no longer at the mercy of others' demands or expectations. Instead, she chooses where to invest her time and energy. She builds relationships that are reciprocal, where her effort is matched and her value is acknowledged. She doesn't settle for situations that drain her or make her feel unappreciated because she knows she deserves better. Through this, she develops a quiet yet undeniable strength. She becomes someone who commands respect without ever having to demand it. People quickly learn that she is not someone who can be manipulated or taken for granted. Her boundaries are a testament to her self-respect and her commitment to living a life that aligns with her values and priorities. In a world that often expects women to give endlessly, a woman who spends time alone reclaims her right to say no. She stands firm in her decisions, knowing that protecting her peace is not just a choice, but a necessity. Her boundaries are a powerful expression of her independence, and they serve as a reminder that she values herself enough to demand the. When a woman spends time alone, she develops a unique form of strength that is both quiet and profound. This strength isn't about being loud or overtly powerful. It's about the inner fortitude that allows her to face life's challenges with grace and composure. In solitude, she learns to rely on her own capabilities, recognizing that true strength comes from within. This inner strength doesn't demand attention. It simply exists and has a subtle yet powerful impact on the world around her. She becomes a master of emotional control, able to navigate both triumphs and setbacks with the same steady demeanor. People are drawn to her calm, knowing that she is someone who can weather any storm. In moments of crisis, she doesn't panic or lose her sense of direction. Instead, she remains composed, assessing the situation with clarity and making decisions based on logic and emotion. Her quiet strength doesn't need to announce itself. It is felt in the way she handles life's uncertainties, with poise and a deep understanding of her own resilience. This quiet strength also makes her an incredibly influential presence. While she may not always speak loudly, her actions and decisions speak volumes. She exudes an energy that commands respect and admiration, not through force, but through authenticity. She doesn't need to prove herself because her actions speak louder than words. Others are drawn to her, not because she seeks attention, but because her calm, centered nature makes her someone they can trust and rely on. Furthermore, this inner strength allows her to maintain her integrity in the face of external pressure. She doesn't bend to the will of others or compromise her values to fit in. She knows who she is and stands firm in her beliefs, regardless of what the world expects from her. This quiet determination makes her a beacon of authenticity in a world that often values conformity over individuality. As she spends time alone, she also develops the ability to create space for others to grow. Her quiet strength empowers those around her, offering them a sense of safety and reassurance. People feel seen and heard in her presence, knowing that she is not there to judge, but to support. She fosters an environment where others can flourish, confident that her strength will always be a source of stability. In a world that often praises loud voices and dramatic gestures, a woman who spends time alone represents the power of stillness. Her quiet strength is an unwavering force that doesn't need to be seen to be felt. She is someone who leads through action, who influences with integrity, and who is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful force in any room is the one who remains calm, centered, and true to herself. So, when a woman spends time alone, she develops an unparalleled sense of independence that allows her to stand strong in her convictions and move through life with confidence. She learns that her happiness, success, and well-being are not dependent on others. She holds the power to create the life she desires, and this realization fuels her sense of self-sufficiency. Her independence doesn't isolate her from the world. Instead, it empowers her to engage with it on her own terms, knowing that she doesn't need to rely on others for fulfillment or direction. In solitude, she discovers the value of self-sufficiency. She becomes accustomed to solving her own problems, making her own decisions, and taking responsibility for her life. She no longer feels the need to seek approval or validation from others to feel confident in her choices. Whether it's making a career decision, choosing a place to live, or pursuing a passion project, she knows she has the skills and abilities to navigate her path independently. This independence allows her to pursue her goals without the weight of external judgment. She isn't concerned with fitting into societal molds or meeting other people's expectations. She is focused on her own aspirations, driven by a deep understanding of what she wants to achieve. This clarity gives her the freedom to make bold moves and take risks, knowing that she can handle whatever comes her way. Her independence also enables her to build a life that is uniquely her own. She doesn't wait for others to define her or to create opportunities for her. She takes the initiative and creates her own. She builds relationships, careers, and experiences that align with her true self, not based on what others think she should want or do. This sense of autonomy allows her to live authentically and to take full ownership of her journey. As she becomes more independent, she also learns to appreciate the value of interdependence. She understands that while she doesn't need anyone to complete her, meaningful connections with others can enrich her life. She is open to collaboration and shared experiences, but never feels the pressure to rely on others to meet her emotional or financial needs. She builds relationships that are based on mutual respect and equality, where both parties bring their own strength and independence to the table. Ultimately, a woman who spends time alone becomes a force of nature. Her independence is not just a trait, it is a reflection of her strength, resilience, and clarity. She becomes someone who doesn't wait for life to happen, but actively shapes her own destiny. Her ability to stand strong on her own empowers her to be a beacon for others, showing them that true freedom and fulfillment come from within. In conclusion, a woman who spends time alone is not just dangerous, she is extraordinary. Her solitude doesn't isolate her, it strengthens her. It allows her to cultivate confidence, clarity, and self-reliance while mastering emotional balance and setting boundaries that protect her peace. She becomes fearless in her decisions, deeply self-awareness, and unapologetically authentic, living a life that is true to her values. Dr. Cherning, her power lies not in being loud or seeking validation, but in the quiet strength she builds within herself, strength that radiates outward and inspires others. She doesn't need the world to define her because she has already defined herself. She walks through life with purpose, grace, and unshakable independence. A force of nature who doesn't just adapt to the world, she transforms it. A woman like this isn't just a danger to the status quo. She's a symbol of what's possible when you embrace your own company, invest in your growth, and step into your power. She is a reminder to us all that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is a woman who truly knows herself.